Welcome to another episode of Let's Talk. Tonight we are privileged to have with us two guests from Manila, who's a very dear and good friend of Mayor and Ipe Remolyo. Our chairperson will discuss to you bakit sila malapit ni Mayor, no? Yung mga history nilang dalawa. So tonight we have with us the National Amnesty Commission chairperson. We have Ma'am Leia C. Tonodra Armamento and Commissioner Jamar Culayan. Ma'am, sir, magandang gabi.
Good evening po.
Mayong gabi sa mga taga Dumaguete.
Wow! Flawless talaga. Seamless. Now, many of us in Negros Oriental might have heard about the National Commission on the Amnesty Commission, but maybe you can kindly talk about it more. Let's start with you, Ma'am Armamento. Sige po.
The National Amnesty Commission was initially created by the virtue of the proclamation and executive order issued by President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, but it was not organized.
Okay.
It is President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. who organized the National Amnesty Commission, to which he appointed Commissioner Jamar Culayan and Commissioner Nasser Marhum Salik as commissioners of the National Amnesty Commission, and later me as the chairperson of the National Amnesty Commission.
Okay, Commissioner Culayan, can you elaborate further? Ano ba talaga yung, how do you define the function of the Amnesty Commission?
Briefly, we only have three functions.
Okay.
Number one, that is to receive and process amnesty application.
Okay.
And number two, once we process it, we can endorse it to the President for his approval. So ultimately, it's actually the President who grants the amnesty. Our function would then be, after the grant of the amnesty by the President, to simply issue the certificate of amnesty to the rebel that is granted, who is granted amnesty by the President.
Okay, so basically what happens now, we're talking about rebel groups, no?
Yes.
Not in the entire country that has surrendered.
There are four rebel groups granted
sige po.
amnesty.
Please.
Actually, today is the anniversary. It's the 1-year anniversary of the grant of amnesty to rebels of the Kapatiran. The
Wow, happy anniversary to that.
And the rebels from the MNLF and the MILF.
Wow.
And on March 14 will be for former rebels of the CPP, NP, NDF.
Now, how do you encourage them to really surrender? And in the process, ano ba yung makuha nila if they surrender to the government?
The National Amnesty Commission promises nothing material but your freedom
Okay.
to live a normal life, then for you to be able to avail of the services and benefits given by the government.
Okay.
So, libre ka ng mamuhay bilang isang ordinaryong citizen.
So, bali, there will be no more attached na parang they will go to court, etc. because of rebellion, di ba?
Yes.
So, yan, that's removed from there, from when they surrender. Now, in terms of assessing who qualifies to be part of the amnesty, how do you assess it?
We have the local amnesty board. So we have like 19 at the moment, local amnesty board. It's all over the country,
Okay.
where there is a large number or accessible to the rebel groups. Ang rebel groups nga kasi namin is RPA, RPMP, ABB, at parang Alex Bukayo Brigade yan.
Okay.
And then we have the Moro Islamic Liberation Front, Moro National Liberation Front, and the former members of the CPP, NPA, NDF.
Okay.
So, wala dito sa Dumaguete.
Masyadong tahimik.
Siguro dahil wala kayong problema kasi usually, di ba, ang nagre-rebelde ang tao dahil may injustice na nakomit sa kanya.
Correct.
There is hunger, poor siya, wala siyang education.
Poor yung services.
Poor ang services ng government. Walang ganyan ata dito eh.
Yes.
Parang good governance ata kayo.
If I were a rebel, for example, baka hindi nila alam paano mag-surrender, no? If I were a rebel and then I think na kailangan ko na, panahon na para mag-surrender ako, where do I go?
Sa aming local amnesty board. Located siya sa
Bacolod.
Bacolod, located siya sa Bohol, sa Iloilo, Tacloban, Catbalogan.
So there's an office really.
Yes,
Yeah.
opo.
So
We have
ano dadali nila? Do they present it sa personal or they write a filler muna?
That's a good question. They can actually download the application form from either the Facebook page of the National Amnesty Commission or from our website.
Okay.
Then they can also go to the local amnesty board as mentioned by our chairperson. Then they can secure the application form.
If they surrender, in the process of surrendering, papunta sila or what? Is security provided for them? Alam mo naman kasi yung mga hindi pa nag-surrender might attempt to, stop them from surrendering and become free members of the community, no? So are they provided by government security as they process their,
Actually, the amnesty grant for former rebels of the CPP-NPA is to former rebels, meaning these are rebels who already surrendered.
Okay.
But then, it doesn't also prevent rebels who did not surrender from filing the amnesty application. So,
Okay.
for rebels who have not yet surrendered but are willing to apply for amnesty, unfortunately, there is no provision for security.
Yeah.
But I think what they can do is to access the NTF-LCAC mechanism.
Okay.
So they can go to the local government unit, for example, the city government of Dumaguete.
Okay.
Pag surrender sila kay mayor, ingon sila nga dili namin mag-pursue sa aming rebellious activities.
Okay.
So the local government can provide assistance to them.
Okay, that's good to hear. Now, the aftermath of nag-surrender sila, no? Ma'am, sir, does the government come in and then provide, let's say, livelihood to those surrenderies?
So yung sinasabi ni Commissioner Jamar, yung NTF-LCAC, yung JAPIC, meron tayong ganun Joint Armed Forces PNP Committee, yun sila nagpo-provide ng livelihood,
Okay.
assistance, yung ganun, even including the family.
Okay.
So, even before mag-grant sila ng amnesty, binibigyan na sila ng mga benefits.
Oh, kasi if you surrender and then there's no attached na parang livelihood for them, parang it might defeat the purpose. No? I hope you understand. The economic aspect of it comes into the picture. So it's good that the government has recognized that need as well. No? And then, so far, since your existence, this was, what year was this when you started off?
2023.
2023.
It's let's clarify now. It's an ad hoc commission
Yes.
directly under the office of the president.
Yes.
Okay. So since your existence, we're talking about numbers here. No? How many has surrendered really, and the biggest numbers coming from where?
For surrender, based on the records coming from the TFBL, this is the surrender, not the amnesty application.
Oh, that's right.
According to the Task Force Baliklo and the NTF-LCAC, they have around 40,000
Okay.
former rebels already.
Uh-huh.
But then so far, as the amnesty applicants are concerned, we only have about 3,000 so as of last Friday.
Wow.
Because the Amnesty Commission, we update our status of applicants every Friday. So our data last Friday was 2,700.
How good is this number? I mean, in terms of qualifying the surrenderies and those that have applied for the...
We still considered it a very low number.
Do you have a number in mind? Ilan yung rebels? I mean,
Sana makaabot kami ng kahit 10,000 for all.
Okay.
So ang 3,000 plus is kulang pa.
Yeah.
Wala pang 50%.
Because you have how do you get those numbers now? Let's say 10,000. But you have identified really, the number of rebels really?
Actually, no. But yung Task Force Baliklo, they have a surrenderies of around 40,000.
Okay.
So, depending on whether or not they will apply for amnesty, but those identified to have cases are sure of applying.
Okay.
And that is around 1,000 maybe out of the 40,000. For the MILF, they have around 40,000 combatants, but not all of them may apply. But we expect a good number of that 40,000 to also apply for amnesty application. In case of MNLF rebels, around 1,200. And also for the RPMA ADP, around 1,200.
Wow. You have those data yet, huh?
This data actually came from the OPAPRO, the NTF-LCAC.
Okay. Now, before proceeding, I'd like to ask from your end, is this your first time in Dumaguete, ma'am?
This is my second time.
Yeah.
The first time was, I was also the guest of Mayor Ping.
Okay.
And this is my second time.
Okay, let's talk about what's your affinity with Mayor Remolio?
He's my classmate in the law school.
Yeah.
He's one
Wow.
of the intelligent classmates in the law school.
Wow.
So sometimes we get notes from him. We share some answers in the exam.
Okay.
So how you share that, that's already our secret.
When you were classmates in law school, did you have an inkling that one of these days mayor would be
The mayor.
politics? Yes.
No, he's so serious. He's always in the library
Oh.
studying.
Gaya ko lang
He's an
narinig na
honor
serious siya.
student. He's an honor student in the law school.
Wow.
So you don't think that you will never think that he will go to politics because you will be thinking that he will be a good practitioner.
What's one thing that people in Negros Oriental or people in Dumaguete that you can share, ma'am, na they may not know about
Mayor.
Mayor Ipe? Yes.
Oh, he's very principled. He can even argue with our professor, and that is a no-no in the law school.
Okay.
Arguing with the professor, but he will argue.
Okay.
Yes. Even the most terror professor that we had, Secretary Perez of the Department of Justice, he argued with him.
Wow.
Yes, that's Ping Remolio. Very principled.
And he has maintained it until today. Until now. Anyway, sir, is this your first time, Sir Jamar, is this your first time in Dumaguete?
Not in the, I mean in the city itself, yeah, first time, but in the warp, I think that would be my, we have been here, I came from the island, we came from Sulu, so I studied law in Cebu.
Wow.
So the first time I went to Cebu, I passed by Dumaguete City
Okay.
on George and Peter lines.
Okay. Wow. Down memory lane. So, of course, even if you have not really gone around the city, you've heard about Dumaguete City
Yes.
as a city of gentle people, as a summer destination,
Silliman University.
Silliman University, of course, and it's an academic community really.
Many people actually from the islands came here to study in Suliman.
Wow.
I think even our first mayor graduated from Suliman University.
Okay. When these posts were offered to both of you as chairperson and commissioner, what was your main motivation para i-accept yung position and the post that was
Actually,
given?
I'm already retired. I retired from the Commission on Human Rights as chairperson.
Wow. Okay.
I have nothing to do. So I was told that I was appointed. So I accepted it so that there's something that I can do. And I
Wow.
enjoy it.
Okay. Before I go to my next question, maybe ikaw, sir, what motivated you to?
I think it's because the amnesty was originally planned for Moro rebels. And as a Moro myself, I also want to help ensure that the program will be successful.
Wow. So it's more of a legacy thing for you.
There are actually, we have actually two Moros in the commission. But then one of the commissioners unfortunately died last year.
Okay. What were when you got appointed, talagang trabahante ka, no? Public service, you love public service. Anyway, what was your marching orders from President Bongbong?
Not really from President Bongbong, but from Executive Secretary Bersamin. That we have the President wants to have a closure on the rebellion.
Okay.
Because it started during the time of his father and he wants to finish it.
Okay.
So actually we are working double time because there is a deadline for the filing of the application. It will be until next year, 2026 of March.
Okay.
So we have to finish it before the end of his term.
So for those who did not apply the amnesty, they're still covered by criminal. They can be charged criminally for rebellion.
Yes, yes.
Wow. So there's still one more year to go
Yes.
before your amnesty ends up. Okay.
But it's not just rebellion.
Yes.
Other personal crimes, if committed in pursuit of political beliefs, can also be the subject.
Just like what, so that they will understand.
For example, murder. But then the victim is a military officer, perhaps he died during a military encounter.
Wow. Or a politician, for
Or a
example.
politician, for example. Perhaps there was an order coming from the communist organization that official has to be executed.
So if you're able to establish na yung pumatay, mga rebelde,
Opo.
so that is covered as well.
That is cool.
Oh, wow.
And even those
Yeah.
serving sentence convicted by the court, they can still be granted amnesty
Okay.
as long as it can be shown that the crime to which they were convicted were part of the political policy of the movement that they belong.
Okay, okay. So parang yung ginawang crime is because of their ideology.
Yes.
Yes.
Hindi yung personal.
Yes.
So because it becomes now
A personal crime.
correct. Ma'am, I'm interested, ma'am. Ma'am Leia. From human rights chairperson to the National Amnesty chairperson,
Yes.
how does it differ? I mean,
Actually, the work is easy because you have the background of human rights. So like,
so you're telling us na difficult talaga yung naging human rights ka na, ano?
But you also have to mention that she also came from the Department of Justice.
yes,
So
I
from the
was.
Department of Justice, being a prosecutor,
Wow.
and human rights, defending the
No wonder.
human rights victim, and
Okay.
now for the rebels.
Okay. So again, going back to my question, the job, how does it differ, and satisfaction that you derive out of the two jobs?
The two jobs are related because the human rights, you are so conscious of the rights of an individual. Then when you go to the National Amnesty Commission, that person may be guilty of raising arms against the government.
Okay.
So that's the one that we give amnesty.
Mm.
But believing in the principle of communism is not a crime.
Okay.
So that is not part of the amnesty that you will apply for. It's just a principle.
Okay.
It's the rising of arms or fighting the government. We are trying to overthrow the government. That is a crime that you have to apply for amnesty.
It's understood.
Okay.
So basically, if you believe in the ideology, it's not a crime at all.
It's not a crime.
But once you implement something in order to overthrow the government, which is
Yes.
the government, that is when it becomes now a crime.
Yes.
And for those who are, if for example, those who have already been a part of rebellious activity, these are the people also that can avail of the amnesty as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Although they have committed already
Yes.
actual.
Even those serving sentence, they can be amnesty. Kaya pumupunta po kami sa mga kulungan. Kasi may mga tao doon, convicted na sila, nasa Muntinlupa na sila, nag-serving sentence na sila, but the crimes committed were part of the political ideology. So we can give amnesty because, di ba, if you are convicted, may mga
Deprivation
mga
of
deprivation
civil rights.
yung like you cannot
Run to a public office.
to public office, you cannot be elected,
Correct,
you cannot
correct.
vote,
Yes,
ganyan.
yes.
So, if amnesty is granted, ang amnesty kasi parang ini-erase mo yung crime eh.
Sige.
So, as if you have not committed a crime. So, babalik lahat ng karapatan mo bilang isang Pilipino.
Correct. So parang balik ka sa normal life.
Opo.
Yeah. Can you cite a specific, let's say, personality that was a rebel who availed of the amnesty and is doing well right now, living a normal life?
Ang
Is there-
si Secretary Galvez.
Oh, wow.
Yes. And he is proud of that. That
Wow.
he is a beneficiary of amnesty.
And now he's a secretary.
Yes. Secretary Galvez of OPA.
So he's a good example for
Yes.
the rest.
Yes.
That the government has been very convenient. It's not just it's not just a parang lip service thing. Wow, secretary. So mag-surrender na kayo.
What is good with the current amnesty program is not, you don't have to be really a member of the CPP. No? A member of the front organization can also apply.
Okay.
So for example, member ka ng League of Filipino Students.
Correct.
No? So kasama ka sa rally. Tapos nagkaroon ng grave alarms and scandal, no?
Correct.
You'll be charged. You are not a member of the Communist Party, but because you are a member of the front organization
Correct.
of the Communist Party, you can actually apply for amnesty.
Have you gone in depth? What causes rebellion to you? Or what causes one to become a rebel?
Actually, hindi naman talaga nag-research kami, no?
Yeah.
Pero yung common story na poverty, yung walang opportunity, yung mga hindi ka na-educate, hindi ka nakapag-aral, taghirap ang buhay. And then, meron din na victim tayo ng injustice, yung may pinatay, may pinatay sa pamilya niyo, walang nangyari. So naggalit ka sa gobyerno. Parang ganoon ang usually na dahilan kung bakit may nagre-rebelde.
Okay.
So kung maganda ang pagpatakbo ng isang government official sa kanyang komunidad, wala kang mahanap na parang walang rebelde. Like dito sa inyo, parang wala kaming na rebelde.
Okay. That's good to hear actually.
Wala akong rebelde dito eh.
Anyway, this question goes to the both of you again. No? I'm just interested. Now you're granting amnesty for people who committed, let's say, rebellious crimes against, maybe killed somebody out of political, like sa ideology nila na political. How do you now work with people who were family members of the victim?
May services din ang government sa kanila.
Okay.
Kasi parang pero hindi na po sa amin yun na.
Yes, of course.
It's the DSWD, it's the local government, the ILG na para meron silang dito yung community preparation kung saan ang kunyari na amnesty babalik din sa community niya, piniprepare din nila ang community, including the family.
Yes.
Actually nga dito sa gobyerno, mayroon silang scholarship na binibigay sa family, may housing, tapos, yung ganun. Maraming servisyo ang government sa family.
Mga benefits talaga.
Benefits of
ma-extend nila to
the applicant.
the victims.
For the victims, in our procedure, pwede silang mag-oppose actually.
Okay.
So the local amnesty board, once they see the application form and the records, and then it indicates na there is possible private offended party, our local amnesty board will notify that person if he's interested in filing an opposition.
Now, if there was an opposition filed, what happens?
Ang opposition mo kasi is, kasi di ba ang crime is, ang kalaban mo, ang complainant mo, people of the Philippines.
Correct.
Di ba? So,
Kasi public na siya.
Oo. Ang oppositor, ang kanyang karapatan lang ay limited sa personal injury niya. So, kunyari, ako, may member of my family na pinatay ng isang rebelde, ang obligasyon ng isang rebelde na magpa-amnesty sa akin, babayaran niya yung danyos. So, di ba ngayon, ang danyos sa isang pinatay, 150,000. So, babayaran mo yung 150,000.
Okay.
So, lost income, so kung magkaano pa dapat yung mga ganun.
Okay, parang damages.
Oh, damages lang.
Yeah, okay. Now, which is acceptable to those cases na ganyan na nangyari?
Wala pa naman tayong
Wala pa
oppositor.
naman.
Wala pa.
Wala pa nag-oppose.
Dapat get a good record. Okay. Now,
Because most of the victims actually in the applications I saw are actually members of the armed forces, not private individuals.
okay. Now, if for example, somebody availed of the amnesty and then for some reason went back and did rebellious act na naman, can he still avail again of an amnesty?
Hindi na. Minsan lang.
Just once lang.
Kasama yun sa disqualification, yung na-amnesty ka na, babalik ka, tapos magpa-amnesty ulit.
That's right.
Hindi na, minsan lang.
Okay. Now, why is there that there are, correct me if I'm wrong, why is there that there are only 9 established local amnesty boards?
Kasi,
If that's at all.
19 pa lang.
Actually, 19.
Originally,
19.
it's originally 9.
Yes.
But because the Congress concurred to the grant of amnesty for the CPP, NPA, and the former members, dinagdagan ngayon ng 10 dahil we have in Isabela, marami doon. Mostly in Luzon.
Okay.
Konti lang dito sa Mindanao.
2 in Visayas.
2 in Visayas.
Wow.
2 in
So mostly coming from Luzon talaga. Okay. Now, if the applicant for amnesty, sabi nyo kasi it's a public crime na for katong mga rebellion. What if before doing rebellious acts or rebellious crimes, fugitive siya from the law and then joining them? How does this play now?
In that case kasi, the crime must have been committed while he is already a member of the rebel group, no? So for crimes committed prior to becoming,
You will answer to that.
he will have to answer for that.
That's not covered by the amnesty.
That's not covered by the amnesty, but what we can do is to grant him what we call a conditional or a amnesty, a limited amnesty. No? So we grant him amnesty for the crimes covered,
Okay.
committed while he he was already a member of the rebel group, then he will have to answer for the crime na committed on his personal.
Let's talk about how is an amnesty granted and how is it rejected? Was there any amnesty application that was rejected?
Hindi pa kami nakapag-submit kay Presidente.
Okay.
Nasa stage pa lang kami na nagpapapirma kami kasi ito kami lahat na members ng commission.
Okay.
3 kaming regular members.
Okay.
4 ex officio.
4 na ex officio si Secretary Rimulya ng DOJ, Secretary Rimulya ng DILG,
Okay.
si Secretary Teodoro ng DND,
As a
at saka
coordination
Secretary
talaga with other agencies.
Yes.
Wow.
So, hinihintay pa namin pipirma sila sa mga desisyon namin.
Okay.
So, wala pang nakakarating kay Presidente. Tapos ang agreement namin with Executive Secretary Bersamin, ang sabi niya, i-forward namin lahat ng folders para may opportunity sila to review. Kahit ba dininay namin, pwede nilang i-grant. Nag-grant namin, pwede rin nilang i-deny based on the review of the records.
Just for the sake of discussion, kung na-reject, for example, there's a case that was rejected, the person who applied for amnesty, can he reapply? Or can he appeal?
He can reapply if the application period has not yet lapsed, and it will lapse next year of the same date for rebels of the MNLF, MILF, and the Kapatiran.
May appeal clause siya, ma'am?
Wala.
Wala. But in the rules naman na there is no deprivation naman of the right to appeal. No? So you can go to the Court of Appeals, for example, to question the resolution or the findings of the President. No? Pero kung proseso naman, first is you have to apply with the local amnesty board. So the local amnesty board will be the one to process the application. So yung member ng local amnesty board, usually chief executive, members of the Integrated Bar of the Philippines, then representative from the Department of Justice, usually the regional prosecutor's office or the city prosecutor, then the AAP representative and the PNP representative. So if the local amnesty board, if the majority of them decides to grant the amnesty application or either to grant or deny, they will submit it to us for review.
Okay.
So kaming tatlo, we will do the review, then we will share the findings to the other SFPC members for them to approve or to disapprove our recommendation. So if they can dissent or concur to our recommendation. So whatever our decision is, that's what we are going to submit to the Office of the President.
Now, for purpose of clarity, may narinig ako kanina sa Dumaguete de Grosoreta, I'd like to ask this question anew sa inyong dalawa so that maklaro sa mga taga Dumaguete at Grosoreta. Are there applicants, since you started off, were there applicants or are there applicants now coming from Dumaguete and Negros Oriental?
Wala po. Wala nga kami local amnesty board dito.
That's
Kasi
right.
walang tao dito na na-identify na nagrebelde. None in Dumaguete City.
Okay.
Kaya sabi ko nga, good governance kasi kayo.
Pero siguro ang panawagan namin, baka may naglalaylo. No?
That's right.
Ito yung mga dating rebelde na hindi na walis na sa organization, nabuhay ng tahimik, pero alam nilang may kaso sila. This is your opportunity, no, to clear your name. So you can go to our nearest local amnesty board or even to your officer for assistance, then you can call us and we can help you.
We can send our local amnesty board here to process.
With that, ma'am, sir, maybe you'd like to share your message to Mayor Ipe Remolio and the gentle people of Dumaguete and the province of Negros Oriental. With you, starting with you, ma'am.
Actually, I want to congratulate my classmate for being a very good mayor of Dumaguete City. So I'm very proud to be his classmate.
Okay.
And ang wish ko is keep up the good work. Pamana niya sa kanyang mga tauhan dito yung magandang pagpatakbo ng kanilang syudad.
It's not a disappointment for you as a classmate.
Proud classmate nga.
Proud classmate. Power class kayo.
The power class of Ateneo Law kami.
Yes. Sir Jawar?
Siguro daghang salamat for the opportunity to visit Dumaguete City and of course to share what our office mandates are. And of course, I heard a lot from Ma'am Lea about kay Mayor. And seeing Dumaguete for the first time after several years of passing through the warp, I think Dumaguete had improved a lot.
Yes.
And I think the reason for this is no other than the mayor himself.
Wow.
Ang ganda talaga.
Yeah. So, nung classmate mo siya sa College of Law, okay naman.
Matalino ganyan. Matalino yung class.
Ulitin natin.
Matalino
So, serious siya.
Oo.
Wow.
Kinukopyahan namin yan.
Pero ano na siya, humorous na siya na tao. He was, ano na, papatron.
Hindi.
Serious talaga.
Seryoso siya.
Wow.
Punta siya sa library, mag-aaral, tapos pag napagod, tatayo, maglalakad.
Walang nililigawan, ma'am.
Wala pa. Si Tintin Law School. Younger sa amin, 2
Younger.
years batch.
That's right.
Younger. Hindi pa niya nililigawan noon.
Okay.
Nag-aaral pa talaga si Ping.
Anyways, for our viewers, please do continue to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel and for our Instagram also page. No? And at this juncture, I'd like to thank both our special guests for tonight in our talk show. Again, we have the National Amnesty Commission Chairperson, Attorney Lea C. Tonandra Armamento. Ma'am, salamat yun. Maayong yun. Salamat yun. And si Commissioner Jamar Hulayan.
Yeah, thank you.
Before we end up, ma'am, taga saan kayo para ma-share niyo
Ako
naman?
po taga-Antique. So, Bisaya din po ako.
Oh, wow. Okay. And then si Sir?
Ako from Holosulu.
Wow.
And I understand there are some people from my town who is here.
Okay. So with that, we'd like to end our talk show for tonight. I'm Doc Dino. Let's keep talking.
Cut.